Good afternoon, Gareth. I guess good to get back to winning ways after the winter break. Have you seen everything that you want to see from the players, and in particular in that game this weekend?
From the last game?
Yeah.
I think it was, like I said previously, I think there was enough in that game for us to be kind of safe in the knowledge that we're moving things in the right direction. Obviously, you know, we're aware of the level of opponent we were playing against, and Ipswich are having a very good season. But of course, for us, it was about trying to get back into probably where we were a little bit earlier in the season. I think I've mentioned previously that we were kind of like scraping over the line a little bit, quite a lot of injuries, and we needed that break, if we're really honest. Sometimes you don't really want to go into a break, but I felt like that we really needed that one, and it gave us opportunity to get potentially new signings in Rebecca, and then obviously chance to maybe get some of the players back, and seeing Viv back at the weekend was good. And further down the line, some of the other guys will be returning as well, which is going to help us a lot.
Obviously, lots of different games mean lots of different trophies as well. How important is it for you to win a trophy as we go into the second half of the season?
Well, it's what we want to do. Of course it is. That's what we're here for, is to win. We know how difficult that is to achieve, because there'll be many other teams that want to do that as well. So the competition levels are high. The draws that kind of we've gone into, particularly in the League Cup, is a difficult tie for us and a difficult route, but that can happen. And to win any competition, you're going to have to do that. So I think for us, it's a good challenge. The second half of the season, all of the competition's still alive for us. Really looking forward to taking on that challenge, and of course, with getting some of these players back, hopefully by the time some of those competitions come around, I think we'll be in a much better place.
And just finally, obviously your good work is only going to catch the eye of other clubs. There's been some links linking you with Angel City FC out in California. I just wonder, can you tell us anything about that? Have you had any contact with them, and a bit on your own future and how you see your role here?
I've nothing to comment on in terms of the speculation. I think for me, I signed a contract around this time last year. Really happy at the club. Really grateful to the club for many, many years being here as a player and as a coach. I think we've got work to do here for sure. I'm excited about the challenge ahead. I'm excited about where we can potentially move things. Of course, there's a lot of hard work still to be done. So I'm happy. I'm happy where I am.
Hi, Gareth. Does the build-up to a derby game, especially one at the Etihad, feel different for you and the players, or do you try and treat it as any other match?
It will feel a little bit different. I'm not going to lie that it's something different than that. Of course, I think it's a good game for us in a sense that we always wanted to try and play. If we're going to play at the Etihad, we wanted to try and do it more often. 3 games this season is progress compared to the one we had last year and the one the year before. So I think it's a good thing. I think, you know, the Tottenham game was a nice one for us. If this game would have come first, I think then obviously we probably lose a little bit of an advantage, of a home advantage. But I think having had the Spurs game, it was a really good game for us to get that feel back. And obviously we really enjoy playing at the Joy Stadium for sure, and we've created a really good environment there. But playing at the Etihad just allows us to reach a bit of a bigger audience. So I think it's a good thing. Never felt now at this moment that we need to probably train there, say in the couple of days run up to this game. We feel pretty comfortable that we know what we're going into. The dressing rooms don't feel as abnormal as probably what they felt previously. So yeah, we're pretty comfortable with it.
There's not much between the two teams in the table at the moment. They've got the best defensive record. United only conceded 3 goals this season. Why do you think they've been so strong defensively this season, maybe compared to last season?
My initial thoughts is their goalkeeper's been very, very good. Of course, you don't want your goalkeeper to be busy, but I think, you know, she's done a lot of good work for them. And yeah, you have to give credit to the whole team. And I would never want to be someone who singles out too many kind of individuals, but I think their goalkeeper has been good in that sense. And certainly without her, some of those games could have looked different.
You already touched on injuries and signings. Are you expecting to make any more signings in this window? Have you got an update for the fans on that?
Not really. No update. It's really difficult, obviously, to give you any news while there's many wheels of the cog that are still whirring. And yeah, we're working tremendously hard behind the scenes to try and help and support the squad a little bit more. Because, like we said, that we felt obviously losing Alex Lauren, Bunny, you know, 3 really key players for yourself is tough for any team, let alone us. So I think we're trying to get that necessary support we can. We know we're operating in a difficult window, but we still have a bit of time left.
Hi Gareth, nice to see you. Hope you had a good break.
Thank you.
I know that you can't give updates on signings, but one player that you have been linked to is Kerolin. There's some reports that you're looking to do a 3-year deal with her. Is she a player that you have looked at, that you admire, and does she have the kind of traits that you would want to bring to Manchester City?
I think it's really obviously really difficult for me to comment on a player that is not officially ours. So at this moment, I'd have to say no comment. I mean, again, you guys will be the first to know. I know there's a lot of speculation out there, but we like to do things in the right way.
Yeah, totally understand. You've hinted at the return of some of the injured players, you know, later on down the line. I wonder if there's any sort of time frames now that you're able to give around, obviously Lauren, Alex, Bunny, and maybe how Laia as well sort of recovered from that appearance in the FA Cup as well, because she hadn't played football for a while, had she?
Yeah, well, Laia Aleixandri.
Yeah.
Laia had obviously played in the games previous, played against Everton, played against Barcelona, and then obviously we looked at just trying to get her back into good shape, and that meant we probably looked at that last half an hour where we could get potentially Viv on as well. So yeah, Laia's fine. I think she manages herself really well. She gives a lot for the team. Outside of that, obviously Alex and Lauren are in a good place. You know, we know that their return is not immediate. Bunny's a lot closer though. I think pretty imminent, and I think it's we're just trying to make sure we check off a few of the markers that the medical team need to be happy with her in order to be ready for this obviously really busy period we're going into.
So I guess there's a chance that she could play this weekend if all goes well?
This weekend I think it'll be too soon
Right.
for Bunny, but I think outside of that she's starting to move really closer to those next couple of games.
Thank you. And there was no Alana Kennedy in the FA Cup game as well in the squad. Is she someone that might be looking to be on the move this month?
Again, once it's finalised, we'll be able to let you know. Of course, I think, you know, we understand that in this transfer window there's not just going to be movement into clubs. There's obviously got to be movement out. So yeah, I think once we can really tell you what's happening and everything is done, then we'll let you know.
Yeah, we've done the tip boxing now. Just obviously you've got such a good record against Manchester United in these derbies. Naturally, the squad's been together a bit longer, but I suppose what do you think has given you guys the edge in those derby matches so far?
I think just handling the actual occasion has been good from us. I think it's really difficult to look at maybe the last 2 games last season, because obviously Lauren played in those games, Bunny and Alex Greenwood, of course. So I think trying to compare that to now is really difficult. And you know, there's not been too much change at United, a couple of players here and there, but you'd have to say the same about us. We've probably had more activity this summer than we had previous summer. But the way the players have come in and settled has been great. So yeah, I don't think you can really, as much as we take the confidence of having been there previously, last season won 3-1 at Old Trafford, won 3-1 here at the Etihad is impressive, because they're good games and they're games that players want to be involved in. But I don't think you can really compare them to what we're going to go into now. It's probably the latest period we've played Manchester Derby in the season. So normally you get one in the first half of the season, one in the second half. So I think it's good in a sense that we've got a lot of the other games out of the way before we come to this one, and before you know it, we're playing them again 3 days later. So yeah, you just never know when these competitions start to evolve down into the latter stages, particularly in the cup competitions as well. You could end up playing them more often than you actually anticipated.
Yeah, good fun. Well, see you on the weekend. Thanks, Gareth.
Thank you.
Hi, Gareth. You spoke about the extra support that you've been giving the players in light of your kind of leader's absence. Can you specify exactly what kind of support that looks like?
Oh no, I'm saying we're trying to help the group in terms of when we're talking about recruitment. Of course, I think it's really tough when you lose the players that we've lost, particularly those types of players that we have, and regardless of what they can do on the pitch, but also their leadership and their personalities as well. And even though they're still with us behind the scenes, it's still hard for them they can't contribute on the pitch. So when I spoke about trying to gain help and support for the group is for all of us, and that comes from trying to inject some support into the team with bringing players to the club. And I think that's something that's obviously really important when you are in a position in the second half of the season that we are, with all of the competitions still alive. I think it's also really good to try and freshen things up a little bit here and there where we can, just to give the players a lift and a boost in terms of, you know, something a little bit different, something a little bit new, and that's what we're trying to do.
Are you doing anything in terms of the leadership? I know I misinterpreted your answer in terms of support and recruitment, but obviously those players are huge, as you just said, personalities on the pitch. In terms of leadership, or have you spoken to the players about other players stepping up and filling those shoes?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, we have a leadership group which contains 6 players. At this moment, 3 of them, Bunny Shaw, Lauren and Alex, are injured. So, of course, it draws on the other ones. And I think regardless of whether you're in that leadership group or not, we still have cultural architects within the dressing room who are very, very important. And I think, of course, when sometimes that void is left a little bit, then people get an opportunity to step up into it. And we really encourage that, because I think it's really important. And for me, it's about us trying to be us in the second half of the season, being really aggressive in everything that we do, be trying to do everything with intent and a real purpose, because we've seen that when we do that, you know, we get good things and we get good returns from this team.
You spoke about this second half of the season and aggression. If we forget results and points at the moment, how should we judge you come the end of the season?
How will you judge us at the end of the season?
Yeah.
While we're halfway through the season? Or do you want to judge the first half of the season?
Well, I'm looking for some kind of metrics to say, okay, well, you know, this is what we did first half of the season. We're looking to improve. I think you're one of the best pressing teams in terms of like your PPDA at the moment. So
yeah,
when I speak to you in May and we said we had that chat in January, and I said, well, Gareth, you said this, and this is how...
It's easy now to chat about what we've done in the first half, then I need to be like Paul McKenna to predict what's going to happen in the second half of the season. But look, I'll try. I think if I look at where we are now, we were obviously really disappointed to lose the game against Everton, but I felt at that point we were like really scraping to kind of get over the line to get to the break, to try and get a little bit more support back into the team. Players were playing a lot at that point. You know, Jess Park, we couldn't get her a rest at all because she was playing 90 minutes after 90 minutes, and that could be tough sometimes. And I think we were in a situation which was really positive because we qualified for the Champions League and the team did an amazing job to be there. We then obviously have to take on the extra games in that sense, where first half of the season, pretty much, we had hardly any free weeks. Players go away on international duty, so they're not really getting a break. So it was pretty relentless for us, and we're not an especially big squad that was able to kind of cope with that. And we knew that could always be a risk. But I think there are a lot of positives in the first half of the season where we've got ourselves to a point now where we've positioned ourselves still in all of the competitions. Some work to do in some, of course, but I think we give ourselves a real chance, and that's all you can ask for. I think if someone had given us this position at the beginning of the season, to be alive in all of the competitions, in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, to have been qualified to the group stages, all of those things, I think it's great. Now what we want is to try and have our best squad available to be able to go and do what we know that they can do. And yeah, I think there's some real positives to the first half of the season, and we want to be sat here, like you say, in May, hopefully being able to predict that we've had a really successful season with some success.
I'll remember that one.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gareth.
Ask me then.
We'll go to Zoom now. Oh, sorry, apologies.
Hand up there.
Hello, Gareth.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I thought we... My apologies.
Hello. You have 2 derbies coming up very quick now, and you had one the last time you met Man United. How is it to meet them again and know that you have the boost from the other games?
Yeah, like I said, I think it's good for confidence, but also we know that those games are, even though they were 1 season ago, they're still last season, and we're in this season now. And of course, I think that previously, and you can see this also in the men's game, that multiple competitions can come along in a week. You know, we've seen League Cup, FA Cup, and the league game, all within 1 week. So 3 kind of different competitions, which is this week we're obviously in 2 competitions, but 3 games in the space of 6 days for us is going to be really intense. So, and then on top of that, you're adding into Manchester Derbies into that as well, which makes it even more intense. So, yeah, I think it's going to be minimal training time in between those games, just making sure players recover properly and get ready for the next challenge.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. We'll go to Zoom now. Catherine?
Hey, Gareth. You mentioned potential outgoings and obviously going back to reports about Kerolin and potentially the forwards coming into the club. I just wondered what that could mean for someone like Chloe Kelly, who's out of contract in the summer and obviously hasn't played maybe as much football as she would have liked. And Serena Wiedemann kind of said at the end of last year she was concerned by the lack of minutes she was getting in regards to her place in the England squad. Could she be allowed to leave this month if signings were made in the forward areas, or would you like her to stay and sign a new contract?
There's a lot of permutations in this window, of course. We want players to feel a part of it, and of course, while Chloe is here at this club, especially what she's done for me and also the team in the past, is, you know, we have a good history together. So I think for me, it's just about, while she's here, she's the same as every other player. She's considered, she's valued, and whether she plays or doesn't play, she's a part of what we're doing. Anything beyond that is really difficult for me to kind of speculate on.
Cheers, Gareth.
No problem.
Thanks, anyone. Any more questions from the room? No? Thanks very much.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.